Danny, just a quick look back at Saturday then. What are your final thoughts on the game now that the dust has settled a little bit?
I think that everyone should be very proud. Players, staff, supporters, the trust, the owners, whatever we're going to say. It's a great day. It was a great day, I think, from start to finish. I thought the supporters sung throughout. It's a real passion and carnival sort of feel, like I sort of predicted throughout the whole game. I think that helps, actually. You had two good teams going at it, especially ourselves. I think the boys didn't just raise the game to meet a championship level team. They sort of outplayed them for large periods. When they go a goal up after so early, you are looking for a response, and a response quickly, which is what the players gave the supporters. And at half-time, I think everyone was, including us by the way, was saying, what a fantastic game of football. For your entertainment value, that the hard-earned money that supporters were paying, I think they were certainly getting their money's worth. And the second half obviously wasn't the same quality or excitement as the first, but it was, especially near in the end, and you think this is going to be a real upset here, and you're almost waiting to see the supporters get over the barriers and do the old pitch invasion and all that, which they shouldn't do, by the way. And then you get that last minute, that sucker punch. So listen, that's football, and we've got to go there now, take a lot of supporters and try and cause an upset, like I said, Saturday all over again.
Does it whet the appetite a little bit to have more days like that, more full houses?
Yes, like I said to you the other day, Liam, what's nice of us, we very rarely get anything below sort of 6,500, 7,000 really, and that's with our away teams not really bringing any supporters. So we always get good support here, which is great, and even away there's never just a 50, their souls behind the goal. There's always a good few hundred at least. So we're very blessed as a football club that we have got strong support. It was brilliant, obviously, because it was completely packed on Saturday. Fair play to West Brom for bringing their allocation and making it, a really rocking vibe around the stadium.
And I take it, like everybody else, you've now seen the incident involving Brandon Thomas DeSantis and Jeff King just before the third goal. Just get your thoughts on that. Yeah,
it's a shame. I think that obviously if it was, we had VAR at Chelsea last year, didn't we? And I think if your club's got it, if you're Premier League, you obviously use it. If we were Premier League, and obviously the goal doesn't stand, but that's life. Like I said, I thought the referee did have a decent game for large periods, but I think, like the manager says sometimes, that does the officials and decisions have an effect on the result, and sadly it did towards the end. So I don't know what happens now, what the retrospective action will be. I know a lot of people talk about bans for the lad and all that. We've got to put that out of our heads and just say whatever team they put out in the replay will be a really, really strong, tough championship side in front of the home fans. And I think one of their directors come in our office after and he's predicted it'll probably be a sellout, whether that's down to reduced prices or what, I don't know. But it'll be a really good atmosphere. I'm sure we'll take loads, and whether the lad of Sanity plays or not, we'll just have to see what happens.
Is it just a little bit frustrating that obviously the cross comes in from that side and that's where Jeff King would have been, and you'd like to think that he might have been able to put a bit of pressure on and stop it coming in, and then obviously Santi heads it in.
Yeah, and listen, if Santi gets sent off, he doesn't score the goal. But don't think that we come away and just go, oh, there's nothing to analyse there. We were fantastic, we were perfect. To push yourself and to challenge yourself and to be successful, you have to constantly sort of raise the bar. So we're disappointed with all three goals. We never, very rarely do you concede a goal and go, take your hat off. There's nothing we could have done about that. There's always an error or something that builds up to it that you can do. They're all humans, whatever level. If you watch Match Today most weeks with Premier League, there's mistakes and things that they could do better to stop goals. So we've certainly looked back at all three and things we could do better. Yes, you're playing a calibre of player that you don't get every week in the National League, who will punish you, and in the National League you might make a small mistake and the lad blazes it over the bar, or he times his run and he goes offside, and that's not being disrespectful, that's just the calibre of player between the National League and the Championship. So we were punished on 3 occasions, but by God did we punish them too. So they'll be very, very aware of our threats, definitely going into the replay.
On to Wealdstone then. Do you need to pick the lads up a little bit, or is it the opposite in that they can take so much belief from the way that they played?
Yeah, I think a little bit both. I mean, it was a little bit flat in the dressing room after, which is great really, because it weren't flat because we've just done 4-0 at home and everyone's a little bit embarrassed about the day, and it was all just a bit of a damp squib in. It was actually met and rose people's expectations for the replay. I think your question about Wealdstone, I think was a valid one. How many times have you seen a team really turn it on in the FA Cup and then go to a league game on the Tuesday and not even turn up, metaphorically speaking? So we need to make sure that we're on it. Like I say, every game. The players, we've got a good squad. If we need to make a few changes due to fatigue, we'll have to weigh it up the players in a bit later today and see what their physical conditions are. But no, it comes down to a mindset. We're third in the league and doing really well. Yes, we've got good players and good manager and good supporters, etc. But they've got good mindset and they do things properly, whether it be training, the eating and refueling when they're not around the place, the gym work, the tactical preparation. They're really on it, the boys, and they want us to be successful. They want themselves to be successful. So they certainly won't travel down that coach tomorrow expecting an easy game at Wealdstone.
Yeah, everybody could see the physical output on Saturday was massive. You know, the players are on the knees by the end of the game. Is this where you might have to use the squad then?
I think there's a good chance. I think, obviously, with the stats and data we get now about this, I think it was the highest distance that we covered as a team all season, which probably isn't surprising because you do have to run that little bit harder and a little bit longer against teams at that quality, especially when they're putting on 5 of what their manager would consider their regulars. That's going to try and help get them in their promised land of the Premier League. So they had to go the extra mile, and now it's important that any lads that do come in, whether it be 1, 2, 3 or none, the lads that start at Wealdstone know that that Wealdstone's now our FA Cup final. We need to go there and get 3 points.
Obviously, with the West Brom replay, it is another game. Are you getting a little bit worried, concerned about the sort of a fixture pile-up occurring now?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, you can't do much about it, can you? Because no one can sort of predict where your season's going to go. Obviously, we're out the trophy. We're in the FA Cup. We're going for it in the league. So we're not going to win the FA Cup, but we can certainly create some memories along the way. So we can't really be can't be negative at all about having a replay at the Hawthorns in front of 20-odd thousand, and it could be a great night. Fingers crossed for our football club. Yes, ideally you don't get the Wrexham one called off the other week, and the Colville one was moved here initially. The Wealdstone one was called off, and by all accounts it's a bit wet down there at the minute. So the boys are going to be up for a battle tomorrow, and if there are games called off along the way and have to do Tuesday night, that's all part of being successful. It doesn't come easy. To be champions or to go up through playoffs doesn't come easy. You've got to go over so many hurdles, and fixture congestion, sadly, is one of those hurdles you've got to jump over.
Yeah, the weather doesn't look great down at Wealdstone again tomorrow night. And last time it was called off due to a waterlogged pitch. Have you had any sort of feedback, anything yet about a potential pitch inspection or anything like that?
No. I mean, everyone says the weather's better down south, but I tend to disagree. It does rain a lot down there, believe me. But no, we haven't heard anything. Obviously, before most games during the winter, as staff, you always have a little look at the weather just to get an idea of what the conditions may be. I think there's a bit of rain there tomorrow. I'm sure that we certainly want the game to go ahead. But no, we haven't heard anything at all. My point being just that if it is a bit wet and windy, that's like I said to you a minute ago, that's one of the hurdles you've got to overcome. A Tuesday night after a big FA Cup game on a wet pitch with not a humongously massive crowd. Can we go there and be focused and get the 3 points? And
Wealdstone have only lost once in 9 in the league. They're into the playoffs now. How tough is it going to be tomorrow night?
Very tough. I think Stuart's done an excellent job there with his staff since taking over. Not only steadied the ship when they were down near the bottom, but now they're a comfortable National League team, and by the looks of it, they're going for it. He's obviously not settling for them just to be, little old Wealdstone. He wants to kick on with them, and they've got some good players. It's a tight little ground, and their supporters certainly get behind them. So they play some really attractive football. Changes formation within games, very tactically switched on as a manager. So we know we're going to have to be on our game. As you saw from that week we had here, we don't think many people outside, thought we were going to lose at home to Maidenhead, Dagenham, and then lose at Eastleigh in a week. So we can't take anything for granted, especially not Wealdstone away on a Tuesday night.
There were no Lawrence Maguire or Tom Whelan in the squad at the weekend. Was any injuries there, or just left?
No, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because then you go to the fact you go, well, actually, there's 9 subs, and there's still lads not on the bench for 9 subs. So as a player, that's that's always disappointing. But as staff and obviously the manager, we sit down and talk about what the subs will be, who will impact the game. Do you need more than one centre half on the bench? Probably decided against that. Obviously had Banksy on the bench as a midfielder to come on, knowing that sort of DJ would probably run himself into the ground, and Tim, etc. So it's tough for those lads, but they've certainly not done anything wrong in terms of their attitude and how they've carried themselves. And like you say, anything can change in football.
Is anyone a doubt for tomorrow? Have you got any fresh concerns?
No, as it stands at the moment, no. There'll be a bit of fatigue flying about the camp, I'm sure, but these are fit lads, and they're. I think you saw that Saturday, outrunning a championship team. It's credit to them, so they'll be raring to go.
Cheers, Danny. Good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you, Liam. Top man.